Grand Rising, Grand Arrival, Grand Return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and repentant alike. I am Chief Sophia of the Americana Band of Indians, and this is Don't Miss It, our weekly news roundup. We have a long form podcast that's available over on the YouTube channel, so please feel free to check that out if you want to hear a discussion of these events in longer format, a little bit after they happen, so we have time for the energy to settle. So what we do here is we just go over each day in a particular week, and I just read off the news stories. If any of these things interest you, then you can go and do some further research and some further digging on it. All right. So this is the week of February the 24th through March the 2nd. So let's start with Monday, February 24th, 2025. The Hill reports Dem donors stop. They are gone. They're not funding Dems anymore, which is crazy. All right. UK announces new sanctions against Russia. Apple is going to build a new manufacturing academy in Detroit. Anne Arundel County has a cyber hack. Roberta Flack passes away at age 88. Grassley, Chuck Grassley, who is the pro tempore president in the Senate, he went to Fort Knox in 1976. Poso talks Centennials. Centennials being the Pluto in Scorpio generation. DeSantis starts Byron Donald smear campaign because his wife Casey is going to be running for governor in Florida. Biden admin loses billions in Bitcoin, which is impossible because the blockchain tracks everything. Trump says that he will be visiting Moscow at some point. Lester Holt quits NBC News. The FCC chair Brendan Carr, goes up 1,800 feet to one of the poles that are actually running the data, or however it works for the communications. An NSA secret transgender chat room gets closed, and 100 people are fired and have their security clearances removed. The FTC task force on corporate labor. The FTC starts a task force on corporate labor harms. The TSA was using an app called the CBP1 app for migrants, and that app is now discontinued. This was allowing migrants, quote unquote, or illegals really, to fly within the country and without the country without any identification. Interior Secretary Burgum wants to map oil deposits. We don't have a good map of that in this country. Bob Goya is removed as president of Goya, and Mr. Bob, he was a huge revelator of child trafficking, okay? We find out for certain that the mass graves stories in Canada was a hoax, where they were saying all kinds of mass graves were outside these churches and all this stuff. They've dug up all these churches. They have not found mass graves. So it was a hoax. Representative Luna, Florida, slow walks the Epstein files. People have to start coming to the conclusion that the civil rights movement was a total failure. Russia offers U.S. aluminum. Jamal Bryant has an unhinged rant against black Trump supporters in church in the previous day. This starts hitting the social media. The Small Business Administration, SBA, sees 80% of employees return to work, to the office. Trump is going to sell off government buildings in Illinois. UK leaders to Ukraine want Ukraine to keep fighting. The Eagles will visit the White House Super Bowl champions. Maryland enacts a condoms for kiddies law, which I can't tell you. There's a weeks long line to remove gold from the Bank of England. Starlink puts out 4,000 terminals to modernize the FAA. The FBI is currently destroying their servers. And Trump to increase China chip curbs. So next day, February the 25th, this is Tuesday, 2025. A heavy metal band wants Kendrick collab. 99 point 99.9% of USAID funding would not pass an audit. White House wants China to pay $1 million per port call. A lot of the fentanyl is coming in through these ports. Senator Whitehouse wife earns money from his votes, which is indeed illegal. Doge finds schools misuse COVID money. Biden IRS leaks 405,000 Americans' info. Apple is going to build a warehouse in Houston. That's to go with the training center that they're building in Detroit. Representative Swalwell gets drunk with spies, and this is caught on camera. Texas rancher is killed by an IED. Ukraine agrees to a mineral deal and will sign it at the White House. 5 Democrat operatives in Connecticut and Pennsylvania are charged with voter fraud, which they told us was fake news. Trump offers gold cards for foreigners, which is a pathway to citizenship. It is not selling citizenship or green cards. Wise High School in Maryland breaks the residency rule, which forces them to be removed from all basketball, which is crazy. The House of Representatives passes a budget. The White House Correspondents Association is ruled irrelevant, and Trump White House will invite agencies to replace the White House Correspondents Association members. CIA burned assets over COVID jabs. This is crazy. Tiffany Henyard, which is the super mayor of Dalton, loses the Dalton mayor race and town supervisor race. So she's out. Johnny Bones, which is a boxer, I think he does UFC. I'm sorry, UFC. Thanks Trump for healthcare transparency executive order. Byron Donalds announces run for Florida governor on Hannity. Russia to allow Boeing to purchase titanium. I'm reminded, and I remind everyone, that it was Matt Gaetz and Byron Donalds who toppled the Kevin McCarthy empire, where Kevin McCarthy, who is some kin to Nancy Pelosi, was the Speaker of the House. And now we have Speaker Johnson. Again, I'm not convinced that he's better, but way better than McCarthy. Microsoft CEO says AI generates no value, which is crazy and not true, but totally crazy to even say. The Negro Act of 1740, that's probably something you might want to look up. FBI probes Comey 2016 honeypot. And if you don't know about that, that is where FBI Director Comey attached 2 honeypot operatives, which are women, into the Trump campaign to gather data, which is illegal. Okay, illegal. Eric Prince wants to privatize deportations, and he has a plan that he submits to the White House that's about $25 billion. If you don't know who Eric Prince is, please look him up. All right, Wednesday, February the 26th, 2025. Data Republican is doxxed, and the federal government promises to protect her. Jamal Bryant calls a black MAGA runaways. Yikes. Mexican icon performs Not Like Us in Argentina, the Super Bowl version. U.S. Secret Service agent in the that was there for JFK's Pow Pow dies at age 93. An American Airlines plane almost crashes in D.C. Another almost. China fishing. Oh, let me point out that Icarus is now out of the orb with the sun, and so these there's not going to be as many crashes. Icarus is an asteroid. Okay. Chinese fishing vessels use North Korean slaves, which is crazy. The highest spiritual state is authenticity. Uh, Scott Turner, who is the Housing and Urban Development HUD Secretary, does the opening prayer at the cabinet meeting. Michelle Trachtenberg it dies, or she's announced dead. Kendrick Lamar is seen taking a psych course at UCLA to strengthen his pen. HUD scraps anti-suburb rule. Obama anti-suburb rule specifically. The Boys is a TV show. It announces a supernatural reunion. A 22-year-old black man in Birmingham commits 8.6% of the total murders in Birmingham, which is crazy, and he is captured. U.S. Customs and Immigration starts doing workplace raids. Washington State Governor Tony Evers says English is transphobic, moves to ban the dictionary. Al Sharpton announces a DEI boycott on the 28th. Little miniature Jesus statues start to show up at the Capitol. Mexico citizens report drop in cartel activity. Health and Human Services stops COVID oral jab clinical trial. Lenny Williams was the artist, old artist, drops a song about not being the baby daddy at age 80, which is not something an 80-year-old should be talking about. I observed that people don't understand revenue. The Romanian presidential nominee is arrested and then subsequently released. I also suggest to people that they physically move if they can. I do a thread on how the Sibyls are the Dark Mothers. There's lots of boycotts planned for the 28th of February, and none of them are successful. And we know this in advance because people don't talk about them, okay? Mayweather, totally unprovoked, Floyd Mayweather goes on to Fox News and praises Trump. Totally unprovoked. Kyrie Irving wears fan designed shoes. IRS is going to close 120 offices. Resting preferences emerges for a black man who was killed by his preferred white woman. Doge blocks $52 million payment to World Economic Forum. Bondi announces the release of the Epstein files after major MAGA pressure. Doge halted $2.5 million to Obama for Obamacare royalties. There's a record number of homes for sale in Florida, but it's not just Florida. Chinese innovation is paid for by U.S. taxpayers. This comes into the timeline. New home sales revised to negative 10.5% from negative 2.6%. Black Tar shows up on the timeline. Eli Lilly is going to build, who is pharmaceuticals, is going to build 4 U.S. manufacturing plants. New York Governor Hochul rigged Medicaid bidding. Trump to convert senior federal workers to appointees. Eric Adams stands on business about migrants. USPS to conduct census. Lutnick proposes, which I think is a great idea. All right, February the 27th, 2025. This is Thursday. Our new moon happens between today and the 27th and the 28th. Iowa Capitol is stormed by pro-trans activists. Ex-user NBA Centel returns after 2 days, which causes a huge upheaval amongst the community of sports teams and sportscasters. Clarissa Shields is suspended from boxing, even though she has a clean urinalysis. She failed a cheek swab, but she passed the urinalysis, and they still have her suspended, which is crazy. Elon is sending the Starlink to the FAA at no cost, okay, to prevent the unnecessary loss of life. Lil Nas X releases a video promo for a song called Hotbox, and I had just been thinking about buying one of those Hotbox things to do near infrared therapy. All right, a two-tone albino male peacock is spotted in Florida. Bondi Bondi puts a letter to Cash Patel about the Epstein files saying that, oh, you didn't give us all the files. White House influencer meeting, total optics failure, complete failure. The Shrek 5 trailer is released and is terrible. Even the children on my van think that the Shrek 5 trailer was terrible. Children, okay? OPN completes first digital retirement, total time 2 days, down from the traditional retirement process, which involves going into the mines, which takes 10 months. Wikipedia co-founder asks Trump to stop federal employees from editing pages on government time with government money. Covington and Burling, which is where Victoria Nuland works, has their security clearances revoked. So hopefully that means Victoria Nuland's security clearance is revoked. MAGA begins to cry out for Matt Gaetz. Please give us Matt Gaetz, okay? FinCEN won't enforce the beneficial owner rules, which is good. 20-year-old Caleb Wilson died from hazing incident with Omega Phi Psi at Southern University, which is, you guess it, a black fraternity. HHS puts a hold on 450-page nutrition guidelines. A Texas child dies of measles, but it's really the jab, okay? Mexico transfers cartel operatives to U.S. Trump meets with Starmer and receives a historic second state visit to the UK. Doechii, who's a rapper, channels Black Tara on Days magazine. Canada and the U.S. are beefing behind the scenes over a fentanyl witness in a case not testifying. SCMI confesses to being NVIDIA partner in Singapore sales crimes. They're crimes what they're done. GNX is the first album without a single to hit 2 billion streams. If you're in the DC area, Cherry Blossom Peak Bloom is going to be from 3/28 to the 31st. The Bondi bots show up on my page after I criticize her. Gene Hackman is found dead in home, and it is suspicious. All right, Friday, February 28th, 2025. Delaware is going to legalize the sale of raw milk in retail shops. The U.S. Department of Education launches a DEI whistleblower page. In case you didn't know, the land where the Pentagon is located used to be a thriving black town. Dank DeMoss, which is that plus size rapper, loses her Lyft lawsuit. Freedom Clown Massey votes against the GOP budget because he is a clown. Planetary alignment is visible in the sky. There's a bunch of planets visible. Germany calls to return to Russian gas. Trump hosts Zelensky in the Oval Office, ends up getting getting Zelensky kicked out of the White House. It's very, very bad, okay? State Department ends Ukraine energy grid support. Lindsey Graham is against Zelensky, and so is Dan Crenshaw, which is the kiss of death. Zelensky is being advised by Obama administration persons like Susan Rice and in the Senate, Chris Murphy. A body is found floating in Lake Lanier. Then Zelensky, after being kicked out of the White House, goes on Bret Baier, Fox News, and continues to crash out, which is bad. The DC CFO is predicting a $1 billion deficit in 4 years. Jonathan Gillum suggests the Epstein files were not entered into evidence properly, which is why there is no list. Haitian criminal that killed 3 in North Carolina was a Biden import, came here on one of Biden's programs. I do a thread or post or something, and I inform people that Omega Phi Psi worships the dark moon Jesus, okay? Media tries to spin Zelensky meaning as a Trump trap, even though Zelensky is the one who insisted on coming to the White House. Rubio is really pissed that the deal collapsed with Zelensky. Susan Rice knows intimate details of the Zelensky deal. How is that? Malley calls out USAID for funding terrorism. MAGA still on the heads of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. They have not forgotten. Doge finds 20 million dead people on SSI. Zelensky pushed Africans off trains in 2022. AOC is worried about a DOJ investigation. Social Security Administration is closing 6 regional offices. And we find out Zelensky refused to sign 3 times altogether the mineral deal. All right, so Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is the first day of Ramadan. Zelensky posts on X that he wants to sign the deal now. Polymarket, which is the betting platform, thinks Fed is trying to sabotage the economy. Kanye trolls people by wearing a swastika t-shirt. Graham says that the U.S. is not putting troops in Ukraine. Angie Stone passes away. I'm not sure how old she is, but she passes away very tragically. Ukraine protests outside of a Tesla dealership in New York, and it ends in violence, of course. Zelensky meets with the Europeans and King Charles, and the UK gives £2.6 billion loan, not grant, loan to Zelensky. 2 North Carolina teens are found safe after being abducted. Steak and Shake uses tallow on fries in all of its stores. I-40 in North Carolina reopens after being closed since Hurricane Helene in September. English is designated as the official U.S. language. Snack food is being designed to bypass Ozempic. February is the lowest border crossings in history. CENTCOM launches an airstrike on Al Qaeda. 3,000 U.S. troops are being sent to the border. The Roach tank fight is rigged. Clearly, Roach won, period. And a white orca is photographed in Japan. All right, so for March 2nd, 2025, Slovakia and Hungary default on EU promise for boots on the ground and planes in the air because they want peace. And it's a few other ones too. Nixon, we come to discover, was framed and forced out of the White House. This is the 333-year anniversary of the beginning of the Salem witch trials. Mike Johnson, which is the Speaker of the House, wants a clean CR through September. Norway profits from Russian gas ban because Norway is providing the gas to Europe at a higher price, of course. 18F, which is in the GSA, is locked out of their devices. Trump announces strategic crypto reserve. U.S. to transport Russian gas to Germany. Trump ends unregulated exchanges with executive order, Bitcoin executive order. And unregulated exchanges are like Binance and these other horrible unregulated exchanges that steal people's money. The UN gives Young Thug diplomatic immunity. Tony Shaffer reveals that Ukraine and UK have a mineral deal before Trump inauguration. Kash Patel deletes promise of Epstein transparency from his page. Moderate Virginia consultants try to maintain relevancy, which is going to fail. The Secretary of Defense asks employees to respond to the Doge 5 things list, which is a huge thing for these people. Crypto wants the influence that the Fed has. They don't want to be separate. They don't want to be any. They want the same influence that the Federal Reserve has, which is crazy. Not neutrality, the same influence. Okay. The UK promises boots on the ground and planes in the air with 2.5 billion, which is nothing. Okay. And Georgia introduces a paper ballot bill. So that's the news from February the 24th through March 2nd. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.